Hey guys, it's Krista again. I'm here to show you how to make this really cute camera card. It's perfect for birthdays and for guys. It's kind of like guy colors and stuff, but it's really pretty. So let's go ahead and get started. You're going to need a piece of whipped cream cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5. That's going to be your card base. You're going to need another piece that's 5.5 by 2 5/8. You're going to need a piece of hazelnut cardstock at 5.5 by 3. You will also need a scrap of white and a scrap of pomegranate. We're also going to be using our hazelnut ink pad, lemongrass ink pad, a vintage screen, which is like a stencil. So this one is from Fun Stamper's Journey. You'll need the vintage screen. And you're also going to need the Picture Perfect stamp set from Fun Stamper's Journey. We're also going to be using our Copics to color our cameras. So our Copics that we're going to need, you can use any colors that you want to, but what I used was G21, G24, G28. Those are going to be your greens. I used Y13, Y15, and Y17 for my yellows, and B2, B4, and B5 for my blues. You're also going to need a Versamark ink and gold embossing powder to do the little flashes. You're going to need a stamp tool, a blending tool, and adhesive and pop dots. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing you're going to do is take your large piece of whipped cream, fold it in half. And I use a bone folder to make that crease real nice. Okay. We're going to take that and we're going to use our vintage screen to create our background. So you're just going to find however you want to put this on here. And I'm going to be using lemongrass ink pad and a blending tool from Ranger to be able to do this. Now I keep my blending pads on the back with Velcro so that I know which ones go to which ink pads. So I'm going to take that apart right there. And I'm going to use that to add my background. Now I'm not going to worry about the middle because that's going to be covered up. So really I'm going to worry about this side and this edge right here. So I'm just going to take this, get some ink on here, and then I'm going to start blending. It's real easy to do. It just depends on how much ink you want to use, how dark you want them to be. And then I'm going to flip it around and do the other side. And that's it. So, super easy to do that background. And then to make this a real easy cleanup, I'm just going to take my Fun Stamper's Journey cleaner, Fun Fusion cleaner, because I did use that Fun Fusion ink pad on it. I'm spraying it just a few times, and then I'm going to use a baby wipe. Here it is. I'm going to use a baby wipe to clean it off. So I'm just going to move this out of the way for a second. To clean it off. It's super easy to clean. But I use that Fun Stamper's Journey ink pad cleaner because of using their ink pad, so I want it to be nice and clean. Now it does leave it a little stained, but that's okay. At least it's all the excess ink is off. Okay. So, and then I'm just going to take this and wipe it off, get all the excess ink off of that, and put it back on the bottom here so that I don't lose it. Now all my ink pads have that. Next we're going to stamp our cameras. So I'm going to get my stamp tool. As most of you know, this is my favorite new tool ever. So I'm going to use this. We're going to remove the foam pad because we will be using Fun Stamper's Journey, the large red, all of our stamps are red rubber, so they're real nice and thick, so we're just going to remove that so that we can do this easily. I'm going to take and I'm going to use my, so that these don't move. Now that middle piece is not going to move anywhere. So I'm just going to take this and line it up however it looks nice for me. Pick it up. And then I'm going to use Hazelnut Blend to ink that up. Now the reason I'm using this Stamp Perfect tool is because when I go to stamp that down, if it's not exactly perfect because this is in the way, I can move that and I can re-stamp it. Also, if I want a nice dark image, I can stamp this 2 or 3 times to get a nice clean dark image. So, just like that. Now I'm going to clean it off. And I'm going to move it down to the bottom. So all I'm going to do is just move these magnets up. And I'm going to move it down here to the bottom. Oops. Make sure that's centered. We're just going to do that again. And then again, I'm going to clean it off. And this time I'm going to do the middle one. Now the reason I do them in that order is so that I don't have too much space at the top or the bottom. All of my stuff is nice and evenly spaced. So I'm going to take this. There we go. Alright, that third one probably needs just a tiny bit more, just right in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one more time. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now that piece is done. Now while I have this out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my last piece, my sentiment. So I cleaned that off real nice. I'm going to get out my white scrap, my sentiment. I'm just putting this in that very far corner right here. And this time I'm going to use lemongrass to stamp my sentiment. Perfect. Okay. Now I'll be using this little ink pad, a stamp block to do my little flash. I won't be using this tool, so I'm just going to go ahead and get that ready so I don't lose this little guy. So I'm going to go ahead and put this away. Then I'm going to use my scissors to cut this out. Now you could use a trimmer if you are not confident in your cutting. But I find that it's just faster for me to cut this out real fast like that. So if I'm worried about it being straight, then I use my grid here to kind of look at it, and I can see, all right, it's perfect all the way around. Look at that. So now I have it cut a little bit too high up here and here, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut that down just a tiny bit. And this side. And again, I would use my grid, line that up, and I can see, all right, this side's just a little high, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that down. And that's how I cut straight, or how I fix my cuts and stuff. As long as it's close, I'm really not worried about it. It's more about the thought than the perfection. So, and then I'm going to take that and adhere it to pomegranate. And again, just freehand cutting that out. Perfect. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to color in our cameras. I'm going to be using my Copics. I am going to go ahead and pause this so that you guys don't have to sit here and watch me color this. So hang on just a pause. Okay guys, I paused right here so that you guys can see how I color these. So I'm going to show you. You can see the blending here, and as it dries it'll get a little more blended, but I'm going to show you here how I do this one. So, and it's the same process on all three. So what I do is I start with my darkest color, and I came in here and I put in my dark shadows. My darkest color always goes on thinnest. And then I go ahead and do the strip on the belt with that dark color. And then I come in with my next light, the next darkest color, or my medium color, and I just kind of blend that out just a tiny bit, and I just stretch it out a little further than what my shadow went. There we go. And then I take my light color, and this is where I really blend everything. Now the tip to coloring with Copics on your Fun Fusion pads is you want to make sure that they completely dry. You do not want to attempt this before it dries. That's why I went ahead and stamped it, set it to the side, and did some other things. Because if it's not completely dry, it will bleed. So now once I finish with that light color, I'm going to go ahead and come in, and I did all three of them, the centers, with that light color. And then I'm going to come back. I'm going to go the opposite way now. So I come back with my middle color, and then I come in with my darkest, and just a tiny bit right there in that corner. And again with my lightest, blend that out. Does not take very long at all to color with your Copics. So, and that's it. Now I am going to come in with my green real fast because I can see that didn't quite get blended in those corners. So I'm just going to surrounded by your glory, one will my heart feel. All right. Very simple. So now we're ready to assemble our card. So we're going to take adhesive. We're going to apply that to our hazelnut right in the middle. Oops, that's a little long. That's okay, we can trim it. Yeah, okay. And then we're going to take our hazelnut. Oops, sorry, let me zoom out there. There we go. Alright, so that's what I did. I just took this and applied it to the hazelnut, and then the hazelnut to the back. Okay? So now we're going to do our embossing. Now, I could have done this before I did all of this fancy stuff, before I adhered everything, but, you know, I never do anything right, so let's do this. I'm going to be using gold embossing powder. And I'm actually going to use a different burst. Yeah. I'm going to change to this burst just to make it different. Alright, so I'm just going to take my embossing powder. Now I do want to make sure there's no adhesive or anything on here. Just wipe it off. If you have one of those powder tools, that's a great time to use this. I don't have one, so I'm going to have to get one. Now, you want to ink that up and apply. You're not going to be able to see it unless you kind of move around in the light. You'll be able to see it, but it's not perfect. It's just on there. So now you want to work quickly with this. So I'm going to go ahead and apply my gold. I should have done that on paper. Let me try that. I'm going to put this right here. And I go ahead and tap. Some people don't. I do. So we're going to tap. We're going to blow that off. Okay. Now you can see it's a total mess. I thump this a whole bunch. So I'm going to take that over to the side and I'm going to thump it a bunch. Alright, now after I thumped it a bunch, you can see it looks a lot better now. So there is still, if you can see it in that light, you can still see that it's, you know, it's not exactly perfect, but that's okay for me because starbursts are not supposed to be perfect. If I wanted this perfect, I would go in there with a tool and make sure to get all of that out before I was going to blow dry it, but I'm not going to do that. I like it like this. Alright, so I'm going to put the rest of this back in the jar because I save everything I'm doing. Okay, and set that to the side. I'm going to just lightly grab all that. A wet wipe works awesome for glitter. So, and then I'm going to take my heat embossing tool and go ahead and heat emboss that. Alright guys, that's all done. As you can see, look how cute those are. Okay, I kind of like that one better than I do the other one. It's really cute. Now this one you can see, I went in and I really got all of that. I went around and stuff and started getting it all out. I think I like it this way where I left a little bit on there. So, and then the last thing you're going to do is take your little sentiment. We're going to do a pop dot on that. Because mine are little, I'm going to use 2. Alright, and I'm going to do this one straight. Okay. Right there. Perfect. Alright, so just like the card says, it's picture perfect. It's so cute, guys. So, alright, so that's the card we have for you today. So again, if you want to go back and look over materials, they're all here for you. You can find me at Craft If I Wanna on Facebook. You can also find me at Krista Orr on Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube. And then if you decide you want any of these products, the vintage screen, the stamps, the ink pads, all of this can be found on my website at funstampersjourney.com/Krista Orr. So feel free to go on there and get the stuff to be able to make your own perfect card. I could totally see this on a layout, like Picture Perfect Day or something like that. That would be really cute. So, alright guys, thank you and see you next time.